Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Riding in the Ozarks, and Harley Davidson has slashed prices again this summer. We leave for Milwaukee in less than 24 hours. Literally, by this time tomorrow, I'll be on the road. So I'm going to try and get this video out real quick for you guys because I think this is interesting for a few people. Those that are looking for some particular models and a special promotion for our military, veterans, and first responders. Let's talk about that first. So Harley Davidson announced the Let's Ride Challenge this year where they're trying to raise $1 million for military, veteran-based charities. And it's based on a collective amount of miles ridden by people who register for this program. So if you have a Harley Davidson, get to a dealership, register for the Let's Ride Challenge, get your odometer read, ride your miles, get it read again before October 31st. And if we ride enough miles, they'll donate $1 million to these charities. Also, you have a chance to win motorcycles and other great cool things, but that's really not the primary reason I'm doing it. I'm doing the Let's Ride Challenge to raise money for our veterans and our military. And along with that promotion, they've announced up to $1,500 off on select touring models for the military, veterans, and first responders. Now, I'll leave a link to the description down below where you can go to check that out if you are one of those folks. But it's like $1,500 off on a Street Glide Ultra or $1,000 off on a Street Glide or Road Glide. And if you're not interested in one of those, there's also like a $250 credit toward parts and accessories you can get if you're not looking at a touring model. So there's still something there for people who maybe already have a touring model, or looking for a second bike like a Lowrider S, which we'll talk about their price cut in a minute. But it cannot be used as a down payment according to the fine print I read this morning. That means they're going to take that number off the top and you're still going to have a down payment. I believe that's the way to work. Talk to your dealership. Go sign up on this website, get the details, and take that in, talk to your dealer, and talk to them about it. See if we can get you on a new bike. Now, the other side of this coin is they have cut prices. So I announced earlier this year that they'd cut the price on the Nightster to $10,000. And that is mentioned in this press release, but there's 3 other models that they've cut the price on, including a touring model. The Nightster was like almost $12,000 when it first came out 3 or 4 years ago, and they've slowly been cutting the price on that. Manufacturing for the Nightster is now currently overseas, and they've got the price down to $10,000. We're waiting to see if that thing comes back to the U.S. for production, if it's going to stay in Thailand. But that's how they're getting the price down on that. I'm sure that's part of that, cost savings to get that price lowered. Now, on these other bikes, they appear to just be trimming the fat on some of these bikes, motivated to try and sell them. This is a limited time offer, as I understand, on the military promotion stuff. I don't know. These price cuts, I would assume, are through the remainder of the model year till they do new models and new pricing, which, if you haven't been paying attention, is supposed to be coming in the fall of 2025. All right, so let's get into the price cuts. Let's talk about the touring model first, and I find this interesting. The Road King Special went down $750. It's now priced at $25K. Well, $24,999. That's $25K to me. I'm going to round up. I'm not worried about that buck. If that buck makes a big deal to you, I don't understand why they do that, but it's what they do in the auto industry for pricing. Anyway, $25K for a Road King Special, which a lot of people have been saying the last few years it was overpriced because for not much more money, you could move up to a Street Glide or a Road Glide. So why would you buy the Road King Special with the 114, no updates in the last several years, compared to a new touring model with all the features, the center-cooled engine, all this other stuff? So that makes sense that they got that price point on the Road King Special down a little more, make a little more differentiation between the Street Glides and the Road Glides. It also makes me wonder that if sales are not down, and this is a way to try and also inspire sales on those models. I know a bunch of you want the Road King, not the Road King Special, and it was cut from the lineup. I think 2022 was last year or the year it was cut. And so we haven't had a Road King in 2 or 3 years at least. And I know a lot of people would like to see that come back with like the center-cooled engine, maybe the new lines for the tank and things like that. I'm hoping we'll see that happen, but if Road King sales are down, maybe Harley Davidson won't take the chance for that. Maybe the price cut on the Road King Special even indicates that the Road King Special may be on its way out the door. Personally, I'd rather have the Road King than the Road King Special, but that's just my personal preference. I think if I wanted a entry-level touring bike without a fairing, I would probably want the most affordable one, and I would want the windshield and some of those things. The Road King Special is just like a big cruiser on a touring frame, to me, personally, my opinion. And we know what opinions are like. Everybody's got one. Now, the next bike they cut the price on surprised me a little bit. The Lowrider S, down $500. New retail price, $20K. So you can get a new Lowrider S for under $20K when you look at it as $19,999. Now, does that mean that the Lowrider ST is doing well enough with the price break that people are just choosing that over the Lowrider S? So again, we got to differentiate the price a little more. Maybe get them into a Lowrider S, try and pick up sales on those models. I'm curious to find out. I wish we could get better information about the Lowrider S versus the Lowrider ST for sales data and stuff like that. It's just something Harley does not publicly make available. I am going to look at the recall data for the STs and the Lowrider S and the Heritage and some of those bikes that were in that Softail recall, because they do give numbers in there, so that gives me an idea of what models sell better than others. Now, this one doesn't particularly surprise me that it's on the list, but it surprises me by how much. The Street Bob was priced at $17,200, and now it's below $16,000, $15,999, 16 grand for a Street Bob. Now, the biggest complaint I hear from people about the Street Bob is the 3.5 gallon tank. And what I hear from Harley Davidson when I went to Austin and rode the new bikes was that's a design feature to showcase the motor. Now, personally, my opinion, for me riding a Street Bob, I can't ride it more than 100 miles and I need a break anyway. So 100 miles to gas station gives me an excuse to get off and stretch my legs and everything else. My knees are up above my arsehole, and that is really tough on an old guy like me. Younger guys, I ran into a guy the other day at the gas station, imagine that, filling up Street Bob, who rides it. And he rides with a bunch of crotch rockets. And I asked him about the range, and he said it doesn't bother him because the guys he rides with all need to get off and stretch and stuff by 100 miles anyway, because he rides with a bunch of crotch rocket guys. That's what he used to be, and now he's on a Street Bob. Now, is there a way they could get a little more fuel out of that thing and still keep showcasing the engine? Maybe there's a compromise there. You go to a 4-gallon tank. Maybe it's time to give up on the idea of we're going to showcase the engine and focus on function over form. I don't know. I think the Street Bob is due for a redesign. I think when they did the high mids on it, it was kind of the early Canyon Carver before they had the Lowrider S and the Lowrider ST. Those bikes have the Performance 117 motor in them. They have mids. They're more, I think, appealing to the Canyon Carver crowd. So why not maybe go back and put forwards on the Street Bob and try and make it more of a chopper-esque, old school, showcase the motor, small tank, and try and pitch it differently. And I mentioned the Nightster already. I did a video on that in the past, but it is in this press release, so I'll remind everybody, you can pick yourself up a Nightster under $10,000. All right, guys, leave me a comment down below. Let me know, what do you think about these price cuts on these Softails? Which one is the most surprising to you? Would this entice you to buy any of these models? And do you think Harley Davidson's going in the right direction here with trying to lower prices and maybe differentiate the Road King more from the Street Glides and Road Glides, things like that? I want to know your comments, your thoughts. We're a big community here. Sometimes people make comments on my video and they don't realize it's just me and you having a conversation over the internet. So for me, this is also about community. I want to know what you guys think. Harley Davidson does watch my videos. They do read the comments. So if you have some valid, real point of view, don't be a jerk about it. Express it in a respectful way, and maybe they'll actually consider it. When you're a jerk, people just tend to disregard what you say. Or I tend to delete your comment. Either way. All right, guys, we're headed to Milwaukee. Friday, you can find us from 4 to 6 at Veterans Park at the Content Creators Meet and Greet. Huge selection of content creators there this year. Many of them I haven't ever met. A few I have, like Blockhead, Cruzy Original is going to be there. I haven't got to meet them yet. Jeff Holt from V-Twin Visionary will be there. I got to hang out with him a little bit at East Meets West in Joplin recently and stuff. It's going to be a great time. I hope to see you guys in Milwaukee. This is our first time going, so I will be doing a video on what we did in Milwaukee, what you should look for if you're your first time going. So if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below as well. Maybe you've been and you have some, you got to do this things that'll help me have a better experience there. All right, y'all stay safe, keep on riding, and we'll see you in the next one if we don't see you in Milwaukee first.